other folks to trickle in. Webinars being produced today out of the Wasatch Front in Utah. You got any shout outs from anybody in the chat on where they're attending from? Looks like we got some Chicago folks. East Coast is represented. Any internationals on the webinar? Yes, Pennsylvania, and yes, Snowbird is amazing. We've gotten a ton of powder over the last couple days out here, late in the season. I think we're supposed to be done though, which now everybody's freaking out that we're going to have flooding because we had too much snow this winter. So it's a blessing and a curse. But if you can make it out here and hit the slopes before the season's fully over, you should definitely do it. All right, everybody, we are going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. So today's webinar, what we're going to be talking about is 3 ways you're wasting money on your marketing automation. This webinar is going to go over some of the most commonly seen issues that we see when working with clients that have marketing automation. We've worked with probably 300-400 clients and their marketing automation, and a lot of common themes come up when it comes to marketing automation. So this will walk you through what we see, ways to fix it, and then ways to optimize your marketing automation as well. This is not a webinar to tell you that marketing automation is garbage and you shouldn't be wasting your money on it. Rather, I think it's one of the most powerful tools when it comes to marketing, but it is also probably one of the most misused or underutilized tools in marketing. So let's get into it real quick. The partnership, just so you're aware, my name is Mike Templeman. I'm the founder of Foxtail Marketing. We're doing this webinar in partnership with Bridgeline Digital, and Bridgeline Digital is a marketing automation platform as well as a full digital platform for their clients with content management, e-commerce, and all kinds of other solutions that are provided there. But their marketing automation suite, which is called Unbound, is phenomenal. We've worked with it and like it quite a bit. As I mentioned, my name is Mike. I am Canadian. I do live in Utah now, so I can only dream of the geese flying overhead and the maple syrup flowing through the streams at this point. I do have an amazing wife and 3 kids, and good story from this morning, was walking out the door, and I have a 4-year-old son. Any parents out there will appreciate this, and he was asking me what I was doing for work today. I said, you know what, I'm actually going to be doing a webinar. He got so excited, and he grabbed his hands close to his chest in his squeaky little voice. He goes, like Spider-Man? And I laughed, and for the first time in my life, or his life rather, my son has thought my job was cool, so I said, absolutely, just like Spider-Man. He does webinars every day, apparently. So I am going to be giving a webinar in the mode of Spider-Man for my 4-year-old this morning. Okay, so let's get into the big issue when it comes to marketing automation. And anybody who has either gone through a sales pitch on marketing automation or has deployed marketing automation in their organization, you're going to understand this. The idea of a tool versus a solution. Now, I could bring up the points one by one and kind of talk it out, but I prefer to just put this up and kind of have a jam session with you guys and talk about it. Now, when people are selling you a solution, as a customer, you think this is going to solve all of my problems. This is going to be the solution to what pains I have. And in truth, almost everything out there, especially software related, is a tool. It is not the solution to your problems, and it is not going to be deployed and suddenly fix everything. Again, it is a tool that needs input. It needs services or hand to make it into a solution. So whenever you're talking with a salesperson about your marketing automation, or even internally about your marketing automation, always understand that it is a tool and you get out of it what you put into it. And to make something truly a solution, it requires TLC. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the attention, and that is probably the biggest problem we see when it comes to marketing automation deployment in most companies, is it's deployed as a tool. There are expectations across the organization for it to be a solution and to solve all these problems, and yet it sits there and goes unused for the majority of its functionality. So if we look at this, a true tool would be your email marketing software, the social posting software, landing page software, tracking pixels, CRM, shopping cart software. And I mention all these because these are all pieces of marketing automation. Yes, marketing automation is a suite for the most part. Just because you combine a bunch of stuff doesn't make it a solution. And that's the other thing that salespeople or other companies will tell you is, oh, well, it has this, this, and that, and therefore it's a solution. Again, a bunch of tools don't make a solution. If you have a carpenter come to your house and he leaves his tool belt on the floor, that's not a solution to your problems. It still needs to be deployed with the carpenter. And so as you look at your email marketing software, understand that email marketing software becomes a solution when it has nurtures and workflows and moving stuff from MQLs to SQLs, or reheating these sales opportunities, or bringing people back to the shopping cart. These are the types of activities that email marketing then becomes a solution and not just a software. But again, it doesn't get there without intelligence, without services, and without hands having done that. Landing page tools, you have obviously, a multitude of those out there, but intelligence landing page tools that actually do A/B testing, weighted traffic, that are actively looking for the champion, that work within workflows, that are used in concert with content, that becomes a solution. And then a smart shopping cart, which again is not deployed right out the gate. It does need intelligence, and it does need triggers and rules and business processes to be in there. And so you can't just deploy a shopping cart. You need a shopping cart that is integrated with your social media, that is integrated with your email marketing, integrated with your CRM, integrated with your remarketing, retargeting, and all of these other activities. And once you have it integrated, and once you have the rules and workflows set up, now you have a solution, because it really is something that you can set and not forget, but set it, let it do its job, and monitor it is what you should really be looking for. I would never recommend anybody ever consider or even describe marketing automation or any of the activities that come with marketing automation as set it and forget it, because they are never that. They are always set it and continue to nurture it and build it and work on it. So let's go on to the first waste of money that we see constantly with marketing automation. And this might sound familiar. If it does, don't worry, there are easy solutions to this. There are ways to get through this. But the first one is, let's go through a scenario. We'll call first person Jim. Jim buys marketing automation from a vendor, and they go and deploy the software. Mind you, it is a pain depending on the size of your organization, how many stakeholders are there. IT needs to be involved, security needs to be involved, web needs to be involved, or you might be in a mid-market to smaller organization. It really is just deploy and go. But you set up a basic workflow for your email nurtures, and it's your newsletter, or it's a follow-up to a contact form. You didn't integrate it with your CRM, you don't have lead scoring, and there's no branching workflows. Your workflow sheet should look busy. It should look crowded, because what a workflow is supposed to be is a contingency in this if something happens. And if you have one workflow for one contingency, no business works off of one contingency. There are a multitude of ways that customers come in. There are a multitude of ways that customers interact. And the other part of this that I want everybody to be aware of is, as you're hearing this from the marketing side, understand that while marketing automation is described as a marketing tool, it's in the title, it plays massive roles in both sales and customer service. If you have not utilized and deployed marketing automation as a nurture for new customers, new onboarding, it's being misused. If you've not used it in concert with your sales team and workflows and giving some marketing, your sales and marketing integration, then again, it's being underutilized. So if you've done this, which everybody has at one point or another, when marketing automation was new, we did this too. Congrats, you've just overspent for a basic email sending tool, because you can go out and get Sendy from Amazon or Autopilot or something, one of these lightweight email sending tools, and it will cost anywhere from a couple $100, depending on the amount of contacts you have, up to a few thousand if you have hundreds of thousands of contacts. But you'd be surprised at how many companies utilize marketing automation solely for an email sending tool. Now, the solution to this is, again, workflows. Intelligent workflows, not just workflows for intake. Okay, if they come from a trade show, they go into this nurture. If they come from a contact form, they go into this nurture. If it's a call-in, they get this nurture. Great. You're doing better than most. However, workflows that build upon that establish lead scoring. If this customer comes back to the website 2 to 3 times, now I want them to be scored at a 50, and then they go to a sales representative. Or if this customer has purchased more than twice from us, we want to send them a special coupon or invite them into a members portal or something of that nature. If this customer has filled out a form but then went dark and have just been thrown into the newsletter, you should try and reheat them every 6 months, year, on the quarter, on the year. Again, depending on what your solution is, if you're B2C, reheat them all the time. If you're B2B, reheat them on buying cycles. Buying cycles come around beginning of the month, end of the quarter, beginning of the year, different times like that. So if they filled it out in March, you can expect to maybe try and reheat that lead several times over the summer, and then really get a good conversation with them in the fall, because they probably went with another vendor, and now you're looking at being the alternative to the previous vendor, because now they're not happy, because what is the truth? Everybody shifts through their vendors, or you're hoping that someone doesn't have a great experience with the competitors and you can swoop in. So these are, again, intelligent workflows that actually go through the business processes that you have. And a lot of people look at it and say, well, it's insurmountable. There's too many things. And you're right. Like I said, your workflow system should look incredibly busy. It should have a lot of workflows and if and or logic in there. If that is the case, you need to, there's a saying in the States for our international attendees, I don't know if it's an international one, but it might be, and it's, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when you're looking at your workflow processes and the workflow map that you need to develop, what you need to do is take it one step at a time. Take one journey, customer journey, outline it from start to finish, and build that workflow from start to finish. Don't build all of the top level workflows and then go to the second level and then go to the third level and try and build them a mile wide and a mile deep at the same time. You start at the top and you go all the way down so that someone gets the proper customer journey the whole way through, start to finish. That's the way you build your workflows. And then you start checking them off and going through it. We have our sales, we have our trade show, we have our abandoned cart, we have our newsletter sign up. We have all of these workflows established and in there. They should be segmented into lists. You should have qualities of lists. If you have a big bulk list sitting there, which I will tell you right now, that's what about 95% of companies have. Their big list. We're going to do a blast to our big list. We're going to do this. Do you know which of those people in that list have been to your website in the last month? Because they're probably more likely to make a purchase, or they're more likely to do something. If you have your marketing automation set up correctly with tracking, you will know that, and they should be in a warm list. Has anybody downloaded some content in the last month? Has anybody opened up an email from you in the last quarter? Has somebody called in? These are all segmentation triggers that should find their way into their own individual lists so that they can be handled individually. What you want is a very busy list section of your marketing automation as well. And whatever taxonomy they use, whether it's lists or segments or something like that, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Make sure that there are different strokes for different folks and everybody is getting their own customized journey. That is the strength of marketing automation, is its customization for each individual customer. Again, lead scoring, Just because you're not in B2B does not mean you can't have lead scoring. You can call it a customer score. As I mentioned, in B2C, if you see people coming in and ordering often or being to the site often, or even social, you can put triggers in for social listening. And if people are tweeting or are talking about you, create a workflow that then makes that into a score. It does require a little bit of logic and different systems working together, but it can easily be done. Okay. And then again, this goes back with the cadence nurturers that work with your salespeople. Just because a salesperson or a sale has happened does not mean marketing automation is done. If someone has purchased a product, the number one, real quick for everybody, is just a tangent here. The number one statistic that will determine churn rate for SaaS and B2B products or even consumer products is usage. It's usage. And if you can drive usage, you can drive down your churn. You can drive down your customer turnover. How do you drive usage? Marketing automation is ideal for that. We like to call it the inverted funnel here. You think about it, you have your funnel from awareness, convincing, and close, and then the funnel constricts, it gets nice and small at the bottom, and people drop out the bottom as customers. That's an inflection point, actually. It's not an end point. And now it inflects to an inverted funnel, where they're a customer, but you want to make them into a fan. And from a fan, you want to make them into a brand evangelist. And that is done through workflows, through content sharing, through nurturing your first 30 days on your product. What have you done recently? Give them a newsletter. Talk about your updates, these types of things. That is where marketing automation really shines, when it is used from top to bottom in an inverted funnel, top funnel that looks like an hourglass, if you will. All right, second waste of money that we see with marketing automation. We're going to go with Jan this time instead of Jim. Jan deploys her marketing automation software, integrates it with the website. So actually, now you've done more than probably 97%. I'm making up all these statistics as I go along, but they're going to be high, big statistics. But we see it all the time, where people have not integrated it with their website, or they have not used the tracking pixels or the attribution model that most marketing automation comes with. And this is, personally, in my opinion, the most powerful tool in marketing automation because it touches everything else. And your workflows are predicated on this, your triggers, your lists, everything should be built from this. But you deploy it, you integrate it, so you put the pixel on your website. We've worked with clients before that took 18 months to do because IT was a little bit backed up and they couldn't come down from their thrones to actually put that pixel on for us. If there's any IT people here, I hope you're watching it from your throne, because that is where all IT people sit. I'm not taking that back. Anyways, so you put it on your website, and now you have reports on page views. You can see customer flow, individual page statistics, and landing page results. Awesome. I can do all of that for you in Google Analytics for absolutely free. In fact, much more functionality too. That is not what that pixel is for. Again, that pixel is there to be the trigger for something else. That pixel is a tool. What you do with it makes it a solution. So what you want to do is integrate it with it and understand that your website, your pixel, will track your visitors based on IP address. And that IP address can get attributed to a contact in your database. And so not only do you now have a contact in your database, you can actually backtrack through attribution all the steps that contact took before they ever became a contact and filled out a form. Hugely valuable, because to most people, customer journeys begin at the point of contact or where they eventually give you some type of contact information. That's not true. How many times did they view the page? How many times did they go to a social post of yours? Or how many times did they interact with you from ads? You can have UTMs tracking and all of that set up as well. But now you have an actual true life cycle of your client, and you can give them ratings based on that. If they come in through certain channels, they get an immediate rating. If they've come into your website and then are taking additional steps after that, then you can work them towards a certain lead score that you then take action on. For instance, a lot of people will download your download a piece of content or sign up for your newsletter. That is not a form fill out. That is not them saying, I need your help. What that is they're saying, there's interest. I'm probably in your buying audience or your target audience, and I have a pain point that you probably solve. I'm interested. HubSpot says 80-something% of B2B clients are doing their research before they ever pick up the phone to talk to salespeople. Totally believe that. B2C, nobody's talking to your salespeople. They want to get as much information as possible. Everyone is terrified of a sales pitch. So people are going to be taking a lot of steps that they don't tell you about. Marketing automation gives you visibility into those steps and into that journey, and it is hugely valuable. So again, they sign up for your newsletter. That is a score of 5. They are now in your newsletter list. But they come to your website 4 or 5 times a month outside of the newsletter. That's interesting. And they're going to solutions and product pages quite a bit. Well, I'm gonna mark my solutions and product pages as a 5 score. And every time they come, they get another score to that. Or they're going to download another piece of content. That's another 20 points to them. And you know, my sales team constantly tells me that they're sick and tired of calling through dead leads or purchase lists or something like that. Then I'm going to give them a lead that I can show them has been to our site 7 times in the last 2 months, has downloaded 5 pieces of content, attended a webinar, done all these things. And if you don't think that's warm, you don't know what the definition of warm is. And you better be able to call that. And if you can give that to your sales team, if your marketing automation from the first step is integrated correctly with your CRM, or you have a CRM in your marketing automation, now you have that intelligence being handed off to the sales team, and that empowers them. And that makes them love marketing. And now we get rid of that antagonistic relationship that is sometimes there between marketing and sales. I need better leads, and you're not treating my leads correctly, and all of the things that we say to each other, and scream into a pillow when we're angry at them at night. That goes away, because now you're really working in concert, and you're giving intelligence to your sales team due to attribution. There's also ways this can be used for customer service. If you view that people have been to the forum 5, 6, 7 times after sign up, they're really engaged, or they go to your FAQ question, or they're in your knowledge base quite a bit, maybe you want to give them a phone call or send them an email that asks if there's anything you can help with, because they seem to be doing a heck of a lot of research after the point of purchase. So at that point, be proactive. They're going to think you're reading their minds, which is awesome, but it's also going to save you a lot of heartbreak in the future. From an e-commerce point of view, if someone abandons a cart, that should be in its own separate segment, and that should be treated differently. You have attribution on your shopping cart, you will know that. If someone has added a bunch of items to their cart, but they never actually even go to the shopping cart, that's an attribution model that you would want to have. If someone views multiple pages and multiple products, they're clearly doing research, that is again something that you want to act on. With attribution, you can then see these things. So you set up attribution correctly, and I've given you about 10 examples of how you would use it. Then you build the workflows based on that. The workflows are from the first step. And now you're really starting to see your marketing automation become a solution. Now it's not a tool. Now it's not something that mothballs or that only marketing touches. Now it's something that becomes an integral piece of the company that everybody falls madly in love with. Okay? So look into that. Look into what is the capabilities of your marketing automation and use it to its fullest potential. Third waste. All right, this time we've gone with Jim, we've had Jan. Let's go with Jeffrey. Jeffrey deploys marketing automation, integrates it with the shopping cart, email sender, pop-up tool, and your remarketing. All right, Jeffrey is banging now. I mean, I've given you examples of people doing none of this, but he's done something. And he's actually gotten it on a lot of places. But someone comes to the shopping cart, it's abandoned, and nothing happens. The remarketing isn't intelligent. He never receives an email. The shopping cart didn't ask for an email before he went into a step so that it could be added to the marketing automation. If they purchase, they get a thank you email and are then added to the newsletter. That's what most e-commerce groups do. I say most because you might say, well, we're much more intelligent. Awesome, that's great. But again, most groups are not using all the tools, and most groups are not aware of all the functionality that they have. But with this, just because it's touching everything, and again, you might have an onboarding specialist for your marketing automation. A lot of the groups that sell marketing automation will give you an onboarding specialist, and so they'll make sure that it's integrated and it's touching everything. But just because it's touching everything and just because it's integrated does not mean it's intelligent and does not mean that it is now a solution. Again, action and intelligence makes the tool into a solution. So now you've gone and done all these steps. However, you've created triggers, workflows, and attribution, taking all the steps from the previous two waste of money and solutions, and now you're becoming an intelligent machine. Your website is an intelligent machine. Your workflows are an intelligent machine. Your email, everything is now intelligent. Again, just so you're aware, there's no artificial intelligence marketing automation out there that is going to be able to do all this for you. All of it requires manual input, and maybe in a couple of years this thing will become Skynet and marketing automation will do that for us, but until then it does require quite a bit of effort. But the effort put in pays out. Every time it does. The more time and effort and intelligence and thought you put into your marketing automation, the smarter your marketing automation becomes, the easier your day becomes, and the smarter your systems act towards the customers. Okay, so now when they abandon a shopping cart, and this started happening to me recently, I noticed that a lot of shopping carts before I went to purchase were asking me for email. In fact, they were asking me for my email address very, very early on, not to make a guest checkout. You know how it says checkout as a guest and then you put your information in? No, they wanted my email ahead of time. And I remember I had walked away from this and I got an email without even abandoning the cart. Is a crazy thing. I left the page open. However, the cart timed out, or there was a timer in the attribution or in the workflow, and I got an email notification a couple of hours later saying, hey, come on back. We still want you. By the way, here's 10% off your purchase. Brilliant. Incredibly insightful. That is a smart machine. That is a solution. And I was blown away by that. Now, I went ahead and made a purchase there. I'll tell you, it was one of those premium underwear companies. Now you know what I'm wearing. But it was a premium underwear company, and I purchased it and thought nothing more of it. All of a sudden, I get followed by them on social media. Another brilliant step. A coupon is shared with me via social media. Again, brilliant. I get these newsletters that are tailored to me at that point. I enjoy it. I can tell they know when I've come to their site because I usually receive a coupon shortly thereafter, a returning customer coupon. It is probably one of the most perfectly set up marketing automation intelligence tools that I have seen in the e-commerce space. And I'm blown away by it, and I keep buying from them. And yes, their product is good, but there's comparable products, and I know that I'm buying from them because I'm a marketing nerd and I love how well they're marketing to me. Most people won't get that part of it or buy from them for that reason rather, but they will love the attention and the care they are getting from this group. Very well put together. So that right there is one way that e-commerce sets it up. Again, it touches everything, but it uses intelligence from everything with workflows and attribution. In the B2B space, it can be done just as well. Again, if it is tracking everything, and you have people downloading, and you have people interacting with sales, and you have people calling in, these types of activities are happening. You can integrate your call system with your marketing automation. You can know that after they've received a customer service call, that they receive an immediate follow-up from their onboarding specialist. You know that if they've been to, again, the knowledge base or the blog or sections of your website, you can follow it up. Start walking through these journeys, get a big whiteboard out, bring all these players into the office, the stakeholders that touch marketing automation, and start writing up what would be ideal for something to happen if this were to happen. Here are our most common business processes, our most common business operations, our most common customer journeys. What should we be doing? And talk it out and write it out. And at some point, if you get to it and it says, I don't know if that's possible, now you're digging deep. And I can promise you that with the right developers, even if it does not come out of the box, your marketing automation, through third-party integrations and different things, you can usually make it do anything. And so I mentioned that this is an e-commerce Shangri-La, but what I really mean by that is this is a digital presence Shangri-La. This is a new level of consciousness and awareness that your website has reached. And this is when you have truly deployed a solution. Again, majority of people use it as a tool. Majority of people have deployed it or are considering deploying it or are currently managing 5 to 6 different software tools that do 10 different things that marketing automation does. You know, you have your email sender and you have this and you have that, and that's great. But it could be brought together in a holistic piece, a solution that is truly touching all aspects of your business. Now, how can you do this? How can you make this a reality? The best way that I've seen is to make a marketing automation champion within the organization. And not only a champion, but give that champion power to perhaps build their team out, because as it becomes more and more complicated, and as it becomes more and more intuitive, and it gets smarter and smarter and smarter, it does require more management. So don't expect one individual to be able to manage all these hundreds and thousands of workflows and all these lists and all these emails and all these triggers and attribution, all this stuff forever. You should start viewing marketing automation as a subsection of your marketing department. You have your paid group, you have your SEO group, you have your content group, but you have your systems and tools group, people that manage the systems that drive the entire marketing initiative. That is the best way, because they also own it and they spend all their time thinking about it. They spend all their time improving it. When marketing automation fails, it is usually because it is expected to be deployed or managed in everybody else's margins. If that sounds familiar, again, everybody does it. Don't feel bad. But everybody's going to touch marketing automation, but nobody actually owns marketing automation. If nobody owns it, then nobody's responsible for it. And if I'm only expected to touch marketing automation in the 20 to 30 minutes that I have available because I'm on the paid team, or I'm on the content team, or I'm on the social team, then it's never going to get touched because nobody owns it. So give it an owner. Okay. Another way that to really accelerate this is to actually partner with an agency to optimize it, to get it to where it needs to be, but then to train your team. We have a common saying here at Foxtail, and it's that our biggest competitors are not other agencies. We rarely lose clients to another agency. Rather, we lose clients to internal processes. They say, hey, we're going to move this internal, or we're going to bring this internal, because truth of the matter is, third-party marketing can only take you so far. It will never have the same quality and voice as marketing that is developed internally. I'm an agency owner. I'm telling you the dirty truth of the industry, but that is the truth. And so what an agency should do is train and empower your people to use marketing automation, to understand how it's being deployed. Never give the keys to your marketing automation and the intelligence to an agency. We've recently onboarded a client about 3 or 4 months ago, and they literally had no idea what was in the black box of their marketing automation. They received their marketing automation suite and they opened it up and they looked inside, and it was just gears and levers and all these things turning and moving, and it was put together. I'm not going to say well put together, but it was put together. But they had no idea what it did, and they needed another agency to come in and even decipher it. And if that relationship continues, they're going to eventually go on to another agency to help decipher it. Whereas if they build out the resources internally, they own it. They're empowered by it. They have the best interests in mind, and they can build it into something that an agency would never foresee it being. Because I can give intelligence and I can give functionality, but there are certain levels of creativity that come from an internal team because they know how all the internal teams work. So I would absolutely recommend creating a marketing automation champion within your organization, and that is their job, and it will pay dividends. I can promise you that. Your marketing automation can be one of the biggest revenue drivers you have. It is not a cost center. Okay? Again, making sure you request and receive the training from that agency if you are going to work with an agency partner, or going to the group that sold it to you and getting training and insights and support from them. They provide services, use those services. And if you're not happy with those services, keep pushing, keep digging, keep pushing. I can't tell you how many times I've been told that the onboarding for X software sucks. I agree with you, it does. You think it would be better. As I told you, the biggest metric for signaling churn is usage, and a lot of these companies just seem to want to get it deployed and forget about you. They don't care if you use it, which means they don't care if you churn off the minute your contract is up with them. Don't take it at face value. Push for more from them. If you pay an onboarding fee, get the value of that onboarding fee. Make it hurt. They're going to make a ton of money off of you in the lifetime of that contract. You better make sure they lose money from onboarding you, because you want to be a thorn in their side, and you want to make sure that they onboard you to the best of your ability, because that will make you a great customer for them in the future, and that will make you someone that sticks around forever. So they better understand where you're coming from, and you want to work with a group that gets that. All right, as I mentioned, whiteboarding this thing, this comes back to it. Don't just buy marketing automation to be an email sending tool. Don't buy it because there was a fancy sales pitch. Before you buy your marketing automation, create out your ideal environment that this solution will provide. Again, solution, if it is integrated correctly, if it has the proper intelligence, it will be this for us. But understand also that it will require input. And when you have that, you will go through your demos and you will ask the questions and you will get the right answers. And if it fits as closely as possible to your ideal scenario, that's the solution you use. And don't take the tried and true sales pitch of that's coming in our next release. Oh, the developers are working on that right now. In next month. I'll tell you, I went through demos of new software for 3 of the biggest marketing automation providers out there. One of them, I went through that software demo a year ago. It still is not live. And I know they've been selling it to their customers. Still not live. The other ones were about 6 months to a couple quarters ago. Still not live. That is the truth of the matter. There is a lot of stuff on the horizon, but if you're buying it for what it will be in the future, you will be very disappointed. Buy it for what it is, get a full fleshed out system, solution, and you will be happy with what you get. Do not settle. Okay, so this opens it up to the questions section. I would ask you to kind of ask questions in the little question bar there. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have on functionality, on workflows, automation, intelligence, anything you might ask on what I've seen. I'm happy to answer questions in terms of technology. If you have questions that don't get answered in the webinar, please feel free to email me at mike@foxtailmarketing.com. That is my direct email. I do answer all of my emails. I am an inbox zero kind of guy, so I will get back to you. You can visit our website for more information at Foxtail Marketing. And again, Bridgeline, the people at Bridgeline with their unbound marketing automation solution, as I've said, one that I personally love, and I think it is an amazing tool. You can talk with them by emailing Amanda. Her email is right there on the slide, anadir@bridgeline.com, and just a phenomenal gal that will very, very versed in this solution and will be able to walk you through quite a bit of that. But if you have any questions for them, go ahead and ask there. One thing that I would say about Bridgeline and that I do mention about marketing automation and where you are wasting money, a lot of money is wasted on marketing automation that charges you for contacts that don't do anything. Contacts can make a $1,000 solution per month or a $1,000 tool run you $10,000 a month. It is a trend in the industry to get away from that, but a lot of groups have not. Bridgeline is one of the few that I've seen that do not charge you based on just raw contacts, but rather the emails to those contacts. You can have up to 100,000 contacts in your system and still be paying your basic fee, which I'll tell you, most email solutions, most email softwares don't do that, and almost none of the marketing automation softwares do that. So that is one massive way you can save probably $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 a month, is to immediately stop charging yourself for contacts that are just sitting there. Your contacts can be there, and again, if they have proper workflows and triggers, when you send them emails, I agree, get charged for that. When you are actively using them, be charged for that. But if they are sitting there as a repository, that's insanity. And so they're one of the few groups that I see that does not charge for that, and it is a massive savings. So that is one of the main ways you will save money. All right, looking for the questions. Okay, someone's asking regarding the relationship between the marketing automation solution and the size of your company. Yes, there are different softwares and solutions that are tailor-made for larger groups and for smaller groups. However, I would say this: there are many enterprise solutions that just because they are enterprise does not make them good. I know that everybody thinks that because Oracle and Adobe service the enterprise, that Eloqua and Adobe Marketing Automation must be the best solutions. In fact, they are some of the most bloated ones, and I'm not trying to make any enemies here, but there are a lot of things that they leave me wanting. There are a lot of softwares out there that can scale from very small all the way up to very large. Now, there are some that struggle with larger groups. For instance, Infusionsoft is usually viewed as a small business marketing automation tool. It is a small business marketing automation tool. If you are a larger business still using Infusionsoft, you're going to find that it gives you a headache. So make sure you're using the proper tool for the right size company. I'm not bad-mouthing any companies and saying they can't do this. No, they do great jobs where they are built for. But they can get out of their lane, and when they are out of their lane, they do struggle. So if someone is asking, what are my recommendations and practices when it comes to lead scoring? So lead scoring, again, it should be as intelligent as you can make it. I always recommend that page views and visits to your site are always tracked, and they are always given score values, because a lot of times people will fill out a form, and about 50% of forms just go dark. Okay, but if that person who filled out that form starts coming back to the site in 2 to 3 months, and they start visiting the page again, we know how it works. There's a pants on fire, or hair on fire rather, meeting, and someone says, we need a solution in a boardroom. And so everybody runs to try and find that solution, and then all of a sudden another fire springs up, and that doesn't become as important anymore. But you did fill out 2 forms for that. You do this as well. So you've now gone dark. But when you get back to it and you have more time, and the other fire goes out, you start going back to the sites and looking. So if there was a contact form that was filled out and it is tracking, and all of a sudden 2 months later website visits start coming in, then I would have a list of leads gone dark that reheat themselves, which is a brilliant step, because if they've reheated themselves, now they're raising their hand and saying, I am a little bit interested again. And when they receive an outreach from a sales person at that point, they are very receptive to it. So not only is it lead scoring by giving the leads to the salespeople with a journey and a story and showing them what they've downloaded, what pages they've been to, and giving them scores based on what sources. So your AdWords leads close at a 30% clip and your Facebook leads close at a 5% clip. Those should not be scored equally. I know they are both direct response, but they are not scored equally. So don't give them the same score. And so a salesperson will get a 100 score, and you can also start giving the best scores, best leads to the best salespeople. I know it's perpetuating a process that's just going to make the best salespeople better, but let's be honest, we all know salespeople. There are varying levels of ability there, and so you want to give the best people the best leads and the best opportunities of close. It is also part of giving them the leads at the right time. As I just mentioned, even though that person filled out a form, they might not take any other steps. So they received a score of 50. Let's just give an arbitrary number there. No further scoring is done. If they visit a few pages, yes, it gives them a little bit of an additional score, but it's not the score that's important. As I mentioned, it's when that score happens. If they start coming back in 2 months, they are now back in the mode of looking for this solution. It doesn't matter how many points they get, that should immediately be triggered to a salesperson with that story attached to it, so they know and so they can move on it. That's the types of things you want to be handing over to your salespeople. Okay. HubSpot reports that its customers' churn is in the high 20%. Why is it so high? Is it because customers buy and do not use it? Is that a standard churn rate for the industry? So, churn rates. I will tell you this. Whenever you hear a churn rate, I'm not going to make any crude jokes about hearing a woman's age or anything like that, but whenever you hear a churn rate, add 20 points to it. Let's just say that, because I'll tell you right now, it's actually higher than that. I know that's what they report, but they have some very, very creative ways of lowering that, as do almost every SaaS company out there. Fact of the matter is, they churn because customers are sold with the wrong expectations. They want a tool, they want a solution, but they're getting a tool, and the onboarding is not ideal. The onboarding is very much done by junior individuals there, hourly workers who are just kind of thrown to the phones and said, here's your quick training on how to onboard. And because they know and they've gone through 5 hours of training, they're so much better than you and they can get it done. I've gone through those onboardings. I've been working in marketing automation for 8 to 10 years now. I have yet to have an onboarding process where I sit there and go, this person knows a lot more about this than I do, which would be refreshing. I would love to talk to someone who has 5 to 6 to 7 years of onboarding experience and has done this and has grown with the company. And I actually think your onboarding should be done by some of your most senior individuals with the most intelligence and most understanding. And if that was done, I think that both HubSpot and a bunch of other ones would have much higher retention rates. But it is that delta between tool and solution, expectation and reality, that causes the churn. And so that can be handled during the sales process. It can be handled after on the onboarding process. It can be handled in multiple different ways. All right, let me just go through a couple more questions here. I kind of already answered that one. If there are any other questions, just let me know. I will be on for about another minute or so. You can ask any question you might have. If there is anything else that you require, just again, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to answer it. But I do appreciate you coming out to the webinar today. Again, it was presented by Foxtail Marketing in partnership with Bridgeline Digital. You can visit them at bridgeline.com, or again, in the previous slide, you can talk to Amanda at the email anadir@bridgeline.com. Thank you very much for attending today, and we'll see you next time.